day. Someone said to me, actually, strangely enough, in the last week, 2 different people said to me that they felt they had a problem with their drinking. They felt they had a problem with their drinking, but that others sort of brushed it off and went, "What? No, you're good. What do you mean? You're fine." This is not uncommon, especially if you're not like major bottom, like hitting a major drinking bottom like I did, right? With my the end of my drinking days was pretty bad. I hit a pretty bad bottom, 8-day blackout, blah, blah, blah. If you haven't heard my story, it's on my podcast and I'll tell it again another time. My point is, I was a hardcore drinker. And so nobody ever said to me, "Oh, you don't have a problem." But it happens, right? If alcohol can be a problem without us being, drinking every day or drinking to blackout. It can do massive damage to us physically, emotionally, psychologically, and in some ways can be even worse if we're not a really, really bad drinker because we don't have the support that we would otherwise have. If your drinking feels like it's a problem, but nobody else really seems to notice, or even have people say to you, "You're good, don't yeah, oh, you're all right." You could be careful with that because one of the things we can do is we can let that convince us we don't have a problem, and then we just carry on. We think, "Yeah, they're right. I'm good. I'm good. So why drink? I drink when I don't want to, or I drink more than I like to, or I said I wasn't going to drink on Saturday and I did, but it's okay. It's not a problem." Be careful. If you feel that drinking's a problem, then it's a problem. Nobody else can decide that for you because nobody else knows your personal relationship with alcohol like you do. Nobody else knows how it feels, how you feel the next day. Nobody else knows how you feel internally when you say, "I'm going to drink this much and you drink more," or "I'm not going to drink and you do," or the whole thing. It's inside of us. In our hearts we know. And like I say, if you're like me, there's no question. But I think drinkers, especially women, as bad as I was, are less common. More common is it's a lot subtler. It's actually called gray area drinking. And it's in the gray area, right? You're not like way over here on the scale of like hitting rock bottom, and you're not over on the other end where you can just not drink. It's in the middle, it's subtle, and it can be in some ways more dangerous because it's not as easy to see. It's a little ephemeral, and and it's really easy to say to yourself, "Yeah, nah, it's not really a problem." It's true. I mean, after all, I'm not blacking out. I'm not falling down the stairs. I'm not losing my job. I'm not crashing my car. I'm not, right? So if you're in that sort of subtle middle, I want you to know this. The way to tell if it's a problem is if you're wondering if it's a problem. It's that simple. There's no other test to take. Test. There's nothing else to ask yourself except for that. If you're thinking, "I wonder if it's a problem," it's a problem. Because the reason is, if it wasn't, you wouldn't ask the question. You could also ask yourself this. I'll ask you this. When's the last time you took a break from alcohol? Just decided, "I'm just not going to drink," and didn't drink without support, without even thinking about it. You just thought, "I'm just not going to drink for a month or so." When's the last time you did that? If it's difficult, or if the last time you did it with, maybe you did dry January with a bunch of people, or maybe, you did it with others, or you did it, right? That kind of thing, still probably a problem. People who don't have a problem with alcohol just don't have to drink. They just go, "Yeah, no thanks. I'm good." It's not something I've personally ever experienced because alcohol's been a problem for me since the first time I ever had a drink when I was like 12. Okay, it wasn't a problem when I was 12, but I remember that first drink and I remember going, "I like this." But you get my point. Yeah, if you're wondering, then it's a problem. Yeah, yeah, yeah. And it's worth thinking about. It's worth asking yourself, do I need some support just to get past, a certain amount of time? Because alcohol is subtle, right? And every time we put it in our body, it affects our hormones. We're mature women, and the older we get, the worse it gets. And so it affects our hormone balance, our sugar levels, our blood pressure, and even drinking a little bit on a regular basis, excuse me, will have an effect on our physical bodies and, of course, our emotional bodies, our emotions, and our relationships. So if you're wondering whether alcohol is a problem, then it is a problem. There's my message for today. And one more thing I want to tell you, get out your pen, get out your calendar. I am doing my next challenge on November 28th, which is after Thanksgiving. So I'm going to leave you to do Thanksgiving. Actually, not going to leave you. I'm going to send you a lot of information between now and Thanksgiving, giving you advice on how you can go through your Thanksgiving without difficulty so that you're not that. I mean, it depends on where you're at. For me, holidays like that were difficult because I would overdrink. I would get there and I would just drink more than I wanted to, and I'd end up saying something stupid, and it was awful, right? If that's your problem, then my recommendation right now is don't drink. But if that's difficult, then you're going to need more support. So I'm going to be posting. I'm going to be posting every single day between now and the new year, actually. But now and Thanksgiving, talking about that, the family get-togethers, how it feels for you, suggestions on what you can do. But right after Thanksgiving, on the 28th of November, I'm going to go live 5 days in a row. You're invited to join me, and I'm going to challenge you to show up for those 5 days. And what we're going to do is put together your plan for getting sober now before January, right? So we're going to get you're ready. Forget about New Year's. Forget about a New Year's resolution. We're going to do it now. So I'm inviting you to stick it on your calendar and decide, you know what? I'm going to do this. I'm going to get through. I'm going to not get through. I want you to enjoy Thanksgiving. Be safe, be comfortable, be happy. But right afterwards, make a decision that you're going to join me and you're going to get your sobriety started now. Because what I want for you? I want January 1st, I want you to be going, holy cow, it's the 1st of January and I already have 6 weeks of sobriety. This year is going to be amazing. I said that yesterday. I'm going to keep saying it. So put it on your calendar. You'll hear a lot more about it. We're going to get together November 28th to, I think it would end on the 5th of December. So it's 5 days in a row. And we'll start your sobriety. You'll have an amazing Christmas, the best holiday season ever. And your New Year's, you won't have to celebrate getting sober. I mean, you won't have to try to get sober. You can celebrate it and set new goals. You can say, well, let's see, been sober for 6 weeks. I think I'm going to set a health goal or a weight loss goal or something else because you've already got this. Okay. So mark your calendar, November 28th. And if you're wondering if you have a problem, you have a problem. Otherwise, you wouldn't be asking. Look, yeah, gray area drinking. It's very subtle, and it's actually in some ways more dangerous than being a full-blown, all-out drunk like I was. Sending you love, and as always, rooting for you. See you tomorrow.